When India take on Qatar in their final round, second round FIFA World Cup qualifier slash AFC Asian Cup qualifier match, it's going to be a very weird occasion for two reasons. One, it's going to be a must-win game for them if they are to move on to the third round of the FIFA World Cup qualifiers, although as you'll find out in this video, they need not necessarily win, assuming of course other results go their way. The second thing, and perhaps most importantly, this is going to be the first game that India will be playing in this era without a Sunil Chhetri there. Remember, Chhetri had announced his retirement after the game against Kuwait, and with that game done and dusted, there is not going to be any more Sunil Chhetri to look forward to, at least in India colours. Gurpreet Singh Sandhu, the goalkeeper, has been named the stand-in captain for this particular game. Whether or not he gets that on a permanent basis is something that remains to be seen as of now, but the main focus is of course going to be on a game against Qatar, who are not only the strongest team in the group but also the only team to have guaranteed qualification out of the group. We'll get to how and why that is the case in just a bit, but for now let's focus on India. And again, the scenario for India is very unique, but it is also weird because they need not necessarily actually win, and if results go their way, they can still qualify. Because what happens is that if they win against Qatar, which again I need to remind you is a long shot, then they are guaranteed qualification. However, assuming they draw the game against Qatar and then Afghanistan draw against Kuwait, which is also the final game for both of those teams, then India will still end up qualifying because goal difference wise they are superior to Afghanistan. Even if India lose to Qatar, they can still qualify assuming Afghanistan lose to Kuwait. It's a very weird situation, but that is exactly how tight things have really been. Or actually, I'll correct this one, because if they lose to Qatar and Afghanistan lose to Kuwait, then it is in fact Kuwait who will qualify. So really the thing is that India need a point come what may. They need to actually get, let's say, a win. If they get a win, then doesn't really matter what happens. Then they'll need Afghanistan to hold Kuwait to, let's say, a draw, or somehow Afghanistan to end up winning the game, but not by too big a margin. Look at the table, because that's just how weird it is. Afghanistan with a win will leapfrog India if India end up dropping points. But if India win the game against Qatar, then it doesn't really matter because the goal difference that India have is very superior to Afghanistan. But they'll need to also hope that Kuwait don't end up, let's say, drawing or even for that matter beating Afghanistan, because Kuwait have a better goal difference. It's a very, very tough, weird situation for India because again, there is just so many permutations and combinations. Get a win and they are pretty much guaranteed, assuming Kuwait don't, let's say, beat Afghanistan. That's just how weird it is, because they'll need Afghanistan to do them a favor. The best case scenario for India would be if they can hold Qatar to a draw or get a win, and then Afghanistan end up getting a draw against Kuwait. So again, lots of permutations, combinations, ifs and buts. And why is it so important for India to make it to the third round? Well, because it will take them one step closer to FIFA World Cup qualification, although that does not seem to be happening given the state of the current side. But if they make it through to the third round, they're also guaranteed qualification for the AFC Asian Cup. That is the more realistic goal. Of course, they can still qualify even if they fall out, but this way is just much easier and they won't have to go through the longer route to qualify for the continental tournament. Given that the AFC Asian Cup has also been extended, that qualifying for should be the main, let's say, prerogative. You need to be playing at that level, because otherwise you're not going to be playing against top level teams. You won't quite know how to improve or compete at that level either. So it's a very unique situation for the Indian football team. Again, they need to not only get a result against Qatar, but hope that Afghanistan can get a draw against Kuwait, because if Afghanistan were to win, then also potentially India would still qualify if they get a win against Qatar. But again, if they draw, then Afghanistan beat Kuwait, Afghanistan are through. It's a weird situation, and as I said, so many permutations and combinations, but of course we're all going to be backing the blue and hope against hope somehow that it won't be those dropped points against Afghanistan. Remember, they lost to Afghanistan and drew to Afghanistan as well, that end up costing the men in blue. But what do you think are India's chances in this particular fixture? You can let us know that in the comments below, and don't forget to like this video, share it with your friends, subscribe to the channel, tap the bell icon, follow us also on social media. We're on Instagram, X and Facebook. Don't forget to download the SportsTech app, and if you're already on the channel, well, go right ahead and check out some other videos we've done as well. For now, from my side, it is goodbye.